Alex Morton is an entrepreneur, momentum creator, growth catalyst, and best-selling author and speaker who teaches people around the world how to be, do, and have anything they desire.
I don't watch anything.
Yeah.
I've seen you live. I just know you have it. I just know you have the charisma and all the variable things that matter.
Over the past decade, Alex has traveled to over 75 countries, taught hundreds of thousands of people the philosophies and strategies to create massive success in their lives.
Gotta get it. Follow this dude, man. Let's go. That's all I can tell you. This guy's a genius. Pinche loco.
Alex Morton mindset. Grant Cardone. Let's
El
go.
Gran Cabrón.
And not understanding why he was winning at such a high level, Alex became obsessed with the idea of finding out why. After years of searching for the answer, Alex found it. Now, all he wants to do is share the information that changed his life with as many people as he can.
In 58 years, I have never seen a person that experienced the growth that you've experienced in a relatively short period of time. You have become an absolutely incredible leader.
The stars have aligned for you to make one decision.
My purpose here on earth is to help millions of people become great. And I want you to be one of them.
Well, thank you so much, everybody. Welcome to Level Up with Leila, and I have the honor and privilege of having Alex Morton today that I'm interviewing. So I want to make sure that anybody who's watching this right now, share it with your audiences everywhere. We want to promote this. We've got the amazing opportunity to speak with Alex today. So Alex, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm so excited you're here.
Super excited to be here. Super excited to be here.
I know, and I've got a few friends that know you.
Okay.
So that makes it even more fun. So I did a little background on you, and one question I had to ask you before we kind of roll into it is, I know you played high school football, and so yeah. I have a fun question to ask you. So if you were recruited, would you have picked Ohio State or Oklahoma?
Oh, Oklahoma, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. We're huge Sooner fans.
Yeah.
My dad went to OU. His dad went to OU. My grandma went to OU. My first word was boomer. So we are diehard Oklahoma Sooners fans. Yes.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. All right. So I understand you have a #1 best-selling book on Amazon called Dorm to Millionaire. How did that come about? I know you made your first million by the time you're in your 20s, and you've made 30 million by the time you're 30 is your claim to fame, which is freaking amazing. So tell us how this all came to be, Alex.
Yeah, so thanks. I tell everybody I'm a normal guy, grew up in middle-class America in Columbus, Ohio, super small town. And I tell a lot of people that I was super blessed to be raised by two parents that really instilled in me at a young age work ethic, belief, leadership, even some sales skills. So I was kind of raised by it's like rich dad, poor dad. It was really like rich mom, rich dad. And my parents were successful. They weren't like ultra uber successful, but I watched them work super hard in the insurance business for about 13 years as a kid. So as a little kid, I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to figure out what rich people do one day, and I'm going to do exactly what they do because I've always wanted to make a lot of money as well as empower a lot of people. So at 18, I left Ohio. I went to Arizona to attend Arizona State University. And over there, I got like into entrepreneurship. I saw $1 million listing on TV, and I got into real estate at 18. I was hustling condos and apartments and single family homes. And then one day I got invited to this meeting, and it was this older gentleman. And he said, "Hey, I've got a way for you to make money while you're in school." And I was, I had an open mind and I had open ears and open eyes because I wasn't making that much money. I tell people I was eating ramen noodles in my dorm room. That's why the book's called Dorm Room to Millionaire. But I got involved in relationship marketing, network marketing, social network marketing. There's lots of different names for it. And I just found out what the winners did to win. And I copied them to a T. And I just worked super tremendously hard. And obviously God's grace on my life. And by 24, I made my first $1 million. And there's a lot more to the story, but that's kind of the beginning right there. So I got involved in business and had great mentors and made it happen at a high level.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know that if you were to say, what do you think is the one attribute that has made you personally unstoppable?
I've got to turn to work ethic. My mentor, Bob Proctor, who a lot of the audience probably knows, I was talking to him about it, and he asked me the question. He said, what makes you different? He said, there's lots of young people that can speak well, that are sharp, but they never make any money. They never make it happen at a high level. And he said, you came into an industry and just went crazy with it. And he said, why do you think that is? And it was tough for me to really articulate how. And I think it's funny because a lot of successful people, they really don't know how they did what they did. They just kind of did it and they magnetized success to them. They attracted success. So I think I always point to work ethic. I really do, because I know for a fact the last 10 years of my career, there's nobody that has worked more than me. In the last 10 years, I got the flight miles to prove it. So I think it was a mixture of that. And then on the spiritual side, it was my imagination. I mean, when I was 16 years old, I saw a TV show on HBO called Entourage, which was super popular, right? They made a Hollywood movie out of it. And I fell in love with the idea of being young, traveling the world with my friends, eating where I wanted to eat, doing what I wanted to do, and having total financial freedom. And I think that image got burned so well into my subconscious mind that I attracted this business and this industry and made it happen. So it's a mixture between the physical work ethic and also tapping into these higher frequencies like our imagination.
Right. And a lot of people, I think they think that they have that, right? But what do you think personally holds a lot of people back? Because they want it, right? They say they want it, but yet their actions maybe or something doesn't really reflect that, right? Yeah. So what do you say to that person? Why do you think, what is it inside of them that doesn't allow themselves to fully get there?
Yeah, well, there's something called a paradigm. And this paradigm is a multitude of thoughts and beliefs. And a lot of these paradigms that I have, that you have, that a lot of people have, they were shaped by other people. Mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, teachers, professors. We grow up thinking the way our parents think and our environment thinks. That's why the average welfare recipient in America is third or fourth generation, because they saw dad on welfare, grandpa on welfare. So that kid goes, okay, I guess I'm going to be on welfare, right? Because they're so programmed. So I think the thing that holds people back, I know it is. It's their mentality. It's their thought process. And it's also the opinions of other people. And that's something that people have to overcome if they want to go to a higher level of success. And everybody goes through it. Like when I was 21 and I was gung-ho rah-rah about a specific company, a specific business, most of my close friends, people in my own family, you're crazy, you're nuts, it's not going to work, you're not like them, you don't have a master's degree, you're not that smart, So you have to be able to silence the critics and the quote haters, and also the voice inside of you, and just focus on where your target is, where your focus is, and just stay persistent on where it is you're going in the future.
Yeah, which is that you just kind of warmed it up to the question I was going to ask you, is how do you deal with, because I'm sure today you still get, the negativity and all that kind of stuff, right? So how do you personally handle it? How do you handle when people do that to you? Because a lot of times that shuts a lot of people down, right? But when you're so good at what you do with your mindset that it doesn't stop you, right? So, how do you deal with that today with the negativity? Because there's even a lot more today, right? Question you because you're you know, who you are and how young you are and how you make money and criticize you and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure you get a lot of that.
Oh yeah, a lot. And I study great people in every profession. Like I'm in my office right now. I've got books, Kobe Bryant, Mamba Mentality, Tom Brady's book, Kevin Hart's book, 50 Cent's book, Tony Robbins. So I have a lot of books. I study great people in all areas of life. And one of the common threads I see is how they always talk about you have to be able to deal with, quote, adversaries, haters, whatever, naysayers, whatever that is. And they all talk about, listen, you know, you want to observe the masses and do the opposite. So if you have an idea, if you have a business proposition, if you have a career path, and a lot of people think you're crazy or nuts, that means you're on the right track, right? Like the Wright brothers, everyone called them nuts for creating a plane. You know, Steve Jobs said he's going to create a phone so sexy, people are going to lick the buttons and they're going to be able to talk to somebody across the world with this FaceTime thing. You know, they try to throw this guy in a mental institution, right? So I know that when people come at you sideways or they try to hate, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or people even in your own environment or your community, I really believe that haters are secret admirers, because a lot of them come from like fake accounts. Like I'm in a relationship now with the person I'm going to marry, and she's gotten crazy messages and stuff like that, but they're from fake accounts. They're just people that they're so obsessed with your life that they want to find a way to break something up or ruin your business or ruin your name. So I think when you start to get some haters, I really believe it's a sign of success. Like Grant Cardone, who a lot of people are probably familiar with, a good friend of mine, a mentor of mine, he's like, dude, it just makes sense. Half of the country always hates the president. Whether it's red or blue, half the nation doesn't like the guy or girl. So you're going to have people that don't like you, and that's perfectly fine. So I would tell people watching this, don't focus on the people that don't like you. Focus on the people that love you. Focus on the deep relationships that you have with people that are truly there and they're genuine, and forget all the negative nonsense. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's awesome. Love that advice. And I love how you always talk about vision, right? And being 100% in and, you know, protecting your mindset, protecting your brain and everything like that. Do you personally, what is your personal DMO or your daily method of operation for people who don't know what that is? Do you like set it like an hour every morning? Like, what is your routine?
Yeah, so I've done this thing now for probably close to 2 years now, where every morning I wake up, I don't grab my cell phone and start checking emails or going on Instagram and social media and stuff like that. I really sit there and I go into gratitude by myself in prayer. Every day since my grandma passed away on Christmas morning. Oh gosh, 15 years ago. And ever since then, it's like this thing I have where every morning I wake up, I pray. Every night I go to sleep, I pray. And then I go into gratitude where I think about things I'm grateful for, because my mentors taught me, Bob Proctor, Tony Robbins, these people said, listen, when you're in gratitude, when you're in a harmonious vibrational frequency, doubt, fear, anxiety, and people think this one's a little bit crazy, but disease can't even exist. Like, I don't want to get too far like over there, but disease, if you break it down, it says dis-ease. So physical disease shows up when your mind is at a dis-ease, right? So I go into prayer and gratitude, and then I really refer back to my schedule I set the day before. Like, for instance, I knew I had this call today at 3 p.m. Eastern with you. So I woke up, I'm like, boom, I got Leila at 3 p.m. No matter what happens, that's where I got to be. I got to be home. I got to be on this call. So, I had 9 a.m.s, 10 a.m.s, a noon, a 1, quick lunch. So my DMOs really revolve around health. I'm really big on health now, and I work out with a trainer 5 to 6 days a week. I do cardio 5 to 6 days a week. I love to eat, so the results aren't exactly perfect, but working out and then working. I mean, right now with the whole pandemic going on, it's all digital. I've been doing 10 to 15 Zoom calls a day. We have a financial educational platform company with 250,000 customers around the world, so I'm very busy with that. And then I also have my brand, Alex Morton Mindset, where it's all just free content, and my goal is to just empower millions and millions of people around the world to tap into their best selves and change their life. That's
awesome. Well, I know the industry that you're in, network marketing. I'm in network marketing too, and
nice. I didn't even know that. Super.
Yeah. And what But I got to ask you, because I'm in the corporate world too, right?
Okay.
The reality is there's so many people that have such a negative opinion of the network marketing space, but it's the industry that's made more millionaires than any industry ever. So why do you think people still have that? I mean, you still hear the people talking about, only the people at the top make the money, right? Or all the excuses that you hear from people. And maybe there are some true things where that's happened to some people in the past, but the reality is it's like the fastest growing field ever. Yep. So why do you still think that exists today with people?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons. I mean, I've been doing this now it'll be 10 years in February.
Yeah.
I know I'm a normal guy, but 30 million to 30, I don't think anyone's done that before, which is cool. And I just say that so people listen when I try to help them and teach them. I do calls for lots of different companies. It's funny, people don't even know that, but I do free mentorings for lots of different, actually women in these different shampoo, makeup companies, just because I want to help people. I don't care what company they're at. I just want to help people. But I think the negative connotation, some of it's our fault, as a profession, because some people do it wrong. There's people in our company that do it wrong. I'm sure there's people in your company do it wrong. They say, hey, Leila, if you sign up for $300 and you get 2 friends, they get 2 friends, you're going to be a millionaire. It's not how it works. No. So I think it's the false promises, number one. Number two, most of it is they get in, they buy the drink, they buy the platform, they buy the makeup, whatever it might be. They don't do anything.
Exactly.
And they want to blame somebody.
Yep.
It's like you go get a gym membership at LA Fitness and you don't go to the gym, you're not going to get any muscles. To me, it's stupidity, and I get actually very worked up about it now. Actually, I laugh half the time and I get worked up about it half the time because now it's whatever. But people just they want to do nothing, and they want to get something, and you got to put time and effort and energy into this. And you're right, this thing, network marketing, has created more millionaires than really any profession to my knowledge. And it's where there is no judgment. Right now, there's so much insanity going on in the world, separation, division, racism. I mean, it is what it is. It's insane. Right. And in this profession, no matter what company it is, the compensation plan doesn't care if you have a master's degree or you're a high school dropout. It doesn't care if you're white, African-American, brown, purple, yellow, Spanish. It doesn't matter. So I tell people, this is what I tell people. This is the most moral form of compensation. Right. And I believe that. And some people, they have this negative idea on it because they got involved in something. They didn't give any effort, and they don't want to blame themselves, because why would you ever want to do that? So they got to blame the industry.
Exactly. So an extension of that question is, right, why do people, I mean, we don't have the huge packs or anything like that, but there are companies that have the big packs or whatever. Right. People come in, I want to do it. Even if you don't tell them you're going to be a millionaire overnight, it's still called network marketing. You still have to work at it, right? Right. So why do you still think people will sign up? And I'm sure you've seen this happen over and over and over. And within asking 2 or 3 people a question or asking them to do the business with you, they say no to them, they quit. It blows my mind. They'll spend the money to invest in a business, right? If you were to invest in a brick and mortar business, you'd be spending way more money, right? But it's very little money for potentially huge upswing. Right. Yet they decide that they're going to go ahead and just quit after 4 people said no to them. What do you say? Yeah. What do you say to that? And why do you think that happens?
I think for one, people just have super thin skin. And I tell people you have to have rhino skin to where someone tells you no, it's great, get out of here. It doesn't matter, because 97% of the world don't know how to make money. Right. And we don't have big packs either. You could get it at $235 or $335. My first company, there was $1,000 pack and whatnot. But yeah, people have thin skin, and people hate rejection. And this is what I tell people. When I sponsor, I'm sponsoring a guy today. He's coming in from another company. It doesn't matter. And I told him, I said, listen, his name's Luis. I said, Luis, if I'm going to work with you personally, you got to commit minimum 12 months, minimum 12 months. And if you're not willing to do that, God bless you and your family. I just don't have the time. Exactly. So I give people I almost pre-qualify people. Obviously, at this point, I guess I can do that or whatever. But
Sure.
whoever sponsors these people, they've got to give them some type of basic training. I tell people, listen, you go talk to 10 people today, some of them are going to tell you no. Especially in our first company, it was products and stuff like that, and they were expensive, and they're on Amazon, and now I'm in like a financial platform, so the conversation's a little bit easier, I would say. But some people just quit. I mean, people ask me that question all the time. I'm like, dude, people quit marriages.
Yep.
People quit friendships. People quit the gym. People quit dieting. People just quit. So don't be a quitter, right? I tell people it's a 3 to 5 year plan. It's a 3 to 5 year plan to get everything you want out of life. Because in my career, I mean, in the last 3.5 years, we've helped over 300 people reach lifestyle altering incomes. I don't want to say the blank figure income, but I tell these people, listen, if you do what these people did and you stick it out for 2 to 3, 4 years, you'll get there. The problem is most of you are going to throw the towel in before your blessings show up.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. They don't give it enough time for it at all.
Right.
So, okay. So now you've got people like myself that are in the corporate world getting in, I've been in the entrepreneurial world doing a lot of other things as well too. What advice do you have for them? Because they still have their corporate job. They can't just quit it and start the job, right? And some people say, oh, you got to have 3 months of salary before you quit your job. How do you mentor those people to say, okay, at what point do you cut the cord and you go all in?
Yeah. So if you're doing a normal 9 to 5, I tell people if they're saying they don't have any time or they're limited on time, 9 to 5, you go home and eat dinner, with your wife, 6 to 7, hang out with your kids, 7 to 8. What are you doing from 9 to 1 in the morning? Like some people have to understand there's sacrifice involved with becoming financially independent. I mean, I know for a fact, 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, it is what it is. Like, 15-hour days. I mean, I would go to Europe and we would be in 16 countries in 19 days. I mean, obviously that's not like the normal way of doing things. But I tell people, if you're talking about $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month, $250,000 a month, dude, you have to put in serious work. So if they're in a corporate job, I would say use that to network. Go there, build relationships. And right now, listen, because of what happened with the C word going on right now, nobody is safe. Like if one thing was proven, it's a digital world. Like, ladies and gentlemen, my little sister, who's an exceptional, sharp young lady, she was making $150,000 at a timeshare company. She got laid off. They're like, sorry, unemployment. I mean, so if that's happening to a 6-figure corporate person, what's happening to the 99% of Americans that are making whatever, $30,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year? They're completely, I don't want to use the wrong word here, but they're messed up. It's tough. So you've got to develop an extra stream of income. You've got to develop something where you can make money at home with your kids on the computer, just like this, like we're doing right now, utilizing 2020 technology. And then when you, like you said, getting enough of your, whatever your monthly expenses are, I tell people you need to save up at least 3 months of that. And if you want to pull the plug on corporate and go full time, amazing. But you don't want to do it too early because you don't want to build out of desperation. You want to be building from inspiration. And if you're desperate, people can feel you and smell you, and they're not going to want to work with you. So
yes,
bingo.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so good. Now I know you've had a lot of great mentors in your life. Bob Proctor, right? What was the first lesson that he taught you?
Man, the first lesson, I think it was around one of his quotes. And he said, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. And that changed my life because I remember sitting there, I was 21. I mean, I met him, I was making $400 a month. I mean, true story. And he sees me speak on stage for the first time. He came up to me. I didn't know who he was. And he said, you're going to do great things in this business if you can stay focused. And I was like, okay, like some quote old guy walking up to me at the water fountain. And then he goes on stage and he says, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. And then we met afterwards. And I'm like, so what do you mean? He said, Alex, anything you build in your mind, in your imagination, that you can get emotionally involved in, it will manifest into physical form. And I remember asking him, like, anything? And he's like, yeah. And that changed my life. So that was probably the first lesson. He's taught me a lot of lessons over 10 years, but that was probably the first thing where that expanded my mind and expanded my thinking And that's what allowed me to say, okay, well, if that's true, I can build this millionaire thing in my head, and I can actually turn it into reality in the world.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm sure you've had other mentors, but I'm sure he's probably been one of your best mentors. Is there anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot from my parents for sure. My mom actually briefly worked for Tony Robbins back in the day, so I remember her telling me the magic of belief, the magic of thinking big was a book, and they would put it on like audio tapes. And I remember they would play Personal Power of Tony Robbins when I was a kid with my sister. And I remember my mom telling me, she always said, whatever you want or whoever you want to become, you can become if you're willing to pay the price. She always said that, pay the price. So I learned a lot from my parents. Obviously, Bob's been my biggest mentor over the last 10 years. And, from a distance, I would say, obviously John C. Maxwell, all the leadership books and audios and stuff like that. And Grant Cardone, he's turned into somewhat of a mentor now because we've gotten closer. We live in Miami together, like right down the street. So he's kind of taught me what to do with money, how to invest, how to multiply. So yeah, I've been blessed, super blessed to be around great people. And now all I want to do is that's why I'm doing this call, right? Paying it forward to whoever wants to listen and change their life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what would you say to the person who during this whole situation has lost their job, is fearful, they don't know where to go? Do they start an online business? Do they go look for another job? What is your advice to that person? What options should they be looking at right now? Because there's a lot that's like unknown, right?
Yeah, a lot of uncertainty. Well, first you got to make sure you can eat. So if you don't have any savings account, you got to figure out how to make money like right now. And if you got kids, you got a family, you have to take care of that. But other than like the basic necessities of life, like if someone's sitting there and they're like, I got a couple grand, I'm good, I can pay my rent next month, I'm not like gonna die over here, but I lost my job, I would say you got to change your thinking, and you have to, like you said, you got to start a business. I don't care what it is. I mean, it could be an e-commerce, it could be learning Amazon, it could be learning Shopify, it could be learning, obviously I'm in financial education, so I tell people, learn how to trade, get a demo account, learn Forex, learn crypto, get into network marketing. I mean, that's what Bob Proctor says. He'll go speak for non-network marketing companies, and they'll be like, he says this all the time. He says, if I had to do it all over again, I would just do network marketing. I mean, Grant Cardone, he's like, dude, get into network marketing for what, $300? You're gonna get around millionaires. It's not even the company. Like, that's what I tell people. Even if you come into a company and don't make any money, you're getting around people that you can't get around.
Exactly.
The quickest way to power and authority is getting around people who are in power and who have authority. So even Ty Lopez told his Instagram following, he said, half of you should go do network marketing.
Wow.
So I would say network marketing. And then I would say, okay, what am I interested in? What am I passionate about? There's a lot of amazing companies. I've got friends in a lot of great companies. There's lots of great companies, and I would go and find a good one and get a good mentor and get to work part-time. And then if you work hard enough, it will turn into full-time income. So
right.
Yeah, network marketing.
Awesome. Love it. Well, I'm so excited that you're here. And is there anything else that you would give advice for what's happening in the world right now, or, to keep people focused, calm? There's so much stress, right, that's pulling at everybody today.
Yeah.
Any words of advice for people?
Yeah, I'm going to go off on a little bit. I've been doing a couple of like news shows the last couple of weeks, so I got to be careful when I was on Fox, NBC, and ABC, like local news stations and stuff. So I got to be careful on those platforms. But here I can actually maybe go in a little bit more. I would tell people, don't believe everything you hear.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. I would not listen to CNN or ABC, and whatever they tell you, you say, oh, that's the truth. Because listen, I've elevated my awareness. I'm not the most aware person on the planet, right? But I've elevated my awareness enough to know that news, media, the propaganda, the stuff we see, it's not all truth. In fact, most of it's probably not truth. So I would tell people to think for themselves.
Yes.
Earl Nightingale said, if most people said out loud what they were thinking, they'd be speechless. because most people don't think. They hear, oh, Corona, okay, this, okay, that. You can't do that because the society wants us to be like in debt to them. Like they want us to need them. That's why they don't like network marketing. They don't like entrepreneurship. They don't like us talking about financial independence. They want you to go work for somebody for 60 years, retire and die. I mean, I'm just being honest right now. So number one, think for yourself. Okay. Number two is you need to make sure you're changing your environment, and your environment is the conversations you have with other people. Okay. The conversations you have with yourself, the books that you read. Okay. The videos you watch, the Netflix stuff you watch, all this goes into your mind. So you got to understand on this call, right? Everything in your life is because of the thoughts and feelings and actions you've taken for the last 42, 30, 18 years of your life. And once people accept the fact that they're responsible for their life, that's when you can change it. So I would tell people to think and think differently, think for themselves, and maybe, you know, get into some type of business where you can learn from people like Leila, like somebody that knows what's going on, that can help pull you up from the shackles of poverty, you know, and get you into a better place financially for you and your family. That's what I would say. Yeah.
And I'm going to end this note because I know from some of my friends about you too, is that you're a man of faith, and so am I. And so I think we need more of that in our life, you know? And so I'm grateful and honored to have had you on my show today, sharing your tips and everything. Thank you so much, Alex, for joining us today, and have a blessed year.
You're very welcome and excited to be here. Much love to everybody watching this. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Bye.
Bye.